اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر وإن يروا آية يعرضوا ويقولوا سحر مستمر.
A newly published study using images from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter revealed tantalizing hints that the Moon has slightly shrunk in the recent geologic past, and in fact may still be actively shrinking today. The research, led by Dr. Tom Waters from the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, involved searching thousands of lunar images for specific fault structures called lobate scarps.
We know the Moon is shrinking by looking at the lobate scarps in detail. They actually reflect the crustal materials of the Moon being pushed together, breaking, and being thrust over one another. So that indicates that something has been causing the Moon to actually contract or shrink.
Finding that the lobate scarps are globally distributed indicates that contraction of the lunar surface is happening on a global scale, and this is critical knowledge to understand the geologic history of the Moon. The next steps in this research will be to more accurately assess the age of these scarps to help determine how geologically active the Moon might still be today.
What's exciting about these findings for me is that the Moon is not a dead body. It's not an object where everything that happened on the Moon happened billions of years ago. These scarps could be younger than a billion years. They could be, in fact, as young as a couple of 100 million years old, or they could be even younger than that. And that means, in geologic terms, the Moon is active.
To learn more about this story, visit the homepage for the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter at www.nasa.gov/LRO.
My name is Tom Waters. I am a planetary scientist here at the Smithsonian's Center for Earth and Planetary Studies at the National Air and Space Museum. I am also a member of the science team of the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter camera. Using these Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter camera images, we have now found many lobate scarps that we did not know previously existed on the Moon. This is an example of one of those scarps. It's called Gregory Scarp, and it is this feature that's running down through the image here and pointed to by the arrows. Lobate scarps like Gregory are formed when crustal materials are pushed together to form what's called a thrust fault, and that's illustrated in this diagram up here. Crustal materials are actually pushed together and then break, forming a scarp. Again, just like the Gregory Scarp here. Well, using the LROC images, we've now discovered many new, previously undetected lobate scarps. Those are shown in this diagram of the Moon by these white dots. The black dots are actually lobate scarps that we knew about from the Apollo era. And what's really exciting about this is that, as you can see, many of these newly discovered scarps are sitting at high latitudes outside the area that was actually imaged by the Apollo era photography. And what that means, and including the fact that we now have some of these lobate scarps even near the poles of the Moon, is that these scarps are globally distributed. Why is that important? It means that those forces, the contraction that formed these lobate scarps, was a global process. It occurred everywhere on the moon. Well, what would have done that? Well,